for Writer's Workshop. Hello. And this is probably one of my favorite parts of this training, when I'm going to share with you all of my materials and supplies and organizational tips and tricks that I use for Writer's Workshop. It might seem a little bit overwhelming, but again, you know, these are just suggestions that you can use in your classroom, and just these are things that have worked for me in the past, and I'm happy to share them with you. I want you to just remember to work smarter, not harder. So some of these organizational tricks might help you save lots of time. Okay, so first of all, I think that you need some type of organizational system to organize all the templates that you use for Writer's Workshop. So you're going to need a shelf or filing system or some kind of something to put all the different papers in for the different steps. So you need one for brainstorming, one for first draft, one for teacher conference, one for editing and revision, and so on and so on. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. And in a little while, I'm going to show you a video from my YouTube channel about how I organize all my papers to make it a little bit easier on you. You also need some kind of organizational system to organize all the different colored construction paper that you're going to use for the covers of your book. So I use one of those rainbow carts from Michaels, and I have them labeled black, red, purple, pink, green, blue, all different colors, and the kids just go to the drawers and they pull out the colors that they need for their covers. So that's been really helpful to organize my colors. You can use construction paper, you can use colored cardstock as well, or just plain colored Xerox paper. It's fine too. You're going to need some kind of folders for the kids to organize their writing. I use the folders with the brads and the pockets. That's just what I use. But inside the brads, I put the genre chart in the middle, and I'll share with you a YouTube video later about that and how I organize their folders. And you're going to need some kind of bucket or bin for them to keep all of their writing folders in, okay? You're also going to need some kind of a poster that you can share with the class so they can see their progress. So you can have the different steps of the writing process, and then they can either clip down on the writing process with a clothespin, or you can use a popsicle stick, which is what I use, or some kind of a system where they can see how they're moving through the writing process to self-monitor. Their goal is to get all the way to publishing for their story. You're also going to need some kind of a supply caddy at your teacher table to organize all your crayons and pencils, colored pencils, highlighters, markers, some kind of thing that you know, you can use for all your supplies at your teacher table. I'll share with you what I use for that. You're going to need some of those big erasers, so when they come to your teacher table and you want them to erase something or erase a mistake, you can use those big erasers, and then they can make sure it's erased completely and not messy. We all know how that goes. You also need kind of something that dates their paper. So instead of you writing the date on their paper, you can stamp it. And they have these date stamps at Office Max, Office Depot, Staples, and you can stamp the top corner of their story. So you can kind of keep track of how many days or how many weeks they've been on a certain step. And if they've been on the first draft for like 2 weeks, you're going to say, hey, honey, it's time to move on. We got to go to the next step. So they're not staying on the same step for a long time, and they kind of get in a rut sometimes if they're on the same step too long. So this can be a good way for you to monitor how many days or weeks have they been on the same step. So date stamps have been really useful for me. You need some kind of gold stars or gold circle stickers. The stickers are about this big, and I'll show you what that looks like. They're from Office Depot or Staples, and they come in a package, and you can also order them on Amazon as well. But I call them their Caldecott Awards. So every time they publish a book, they get a sticker that goes on the front of their book, and they feel so proud and so excited. You also need some kind of pockets or for displaying their published books in the classroom. I believe that students... let's see, how can I say, the students' optimism, motivation, Their self-esteem can really boost them up if you display their work. And if parents come in your room and you don't have anything up in your room that doesn't display students' work, it gives the parents kind of a bad vibe, their child's work doesn't matter to you. So I try to display a lot of student work out in the hallway as well as in the classroom. And so I use magnetic pockets I'll share with you from Lakeshore that I use. And it makes the students feel so proud and so valued that they have their work displayed. And so when I have my parent conferences, I just go over to the pockets and I pull out the books for the parents to read, and they love to read their child's published book. They think it's so awesome. You also need a small table, like a kidney table or something like that, that you can sit at to have your conferences. Okay, so this is my author's chair. I love my author's chair. I tell them it's my throne, my Mrs. Rickman's throne. Okay, so you're sitting on the throne when you're reading your book to the class when you get to publish. So a couple of things I have around my big chair. I have my easel. To the left is my easel that I put my pocket chart on, and that's where I put all my vocabulary cards, and we expand the sentences for shared reading on my pocket chart. And on the other side, I have my big book stand that shows the my anchor charts. And so I display my anchor charts on my big book stand. I do not hang them in my classroom. I don't have the space to do that. And I feel like it's better if the kids can see the anchor charts right in front of them on the carpet, rather than having to look around the room, and, oh, look on the back, look over there. You can find that anchor chart over there. But I'm going to share with you some tricks that I use for my anchor charts in just a little bit. But I keep them on the stand the whole week. When I teach a skill, I teach the whole week of the same skill. So if I'm teaching about nouns, I'm doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday on just nouns. And every day we're doing a different activity with nouns, but I'm going to keep that same anchor chart up there for the whole week. And you can see on the bottom of my chair, I have a little teal basket down there. So that teal basket's empty because this was the very first day of school of last year. So there's no writing folders in there yet. But that is the place where I keep all of their writing folders. I do not have them keep their folders in their desk or in their cubbies or anything like that, because I tell them, authors keep their writing in a sacred, safe place. So it doesn't get ruined, it doesn't get torn, it doesn't get bent. So all those writing folders are under my chair in a basket. So it keeps them nice and safe, okay? So these are some of my anchor charts. I've developed a system that I like about my anchor charts. I pre-make my anchor charts in the summertime, but I only pre-make them with the title, the border, I decorate them, and maybe some subtitles, okay? The other parts of the anchor charts, the kids are doing with their Post-it notes. So that's how they're still interactive, and the kids can still feel like they, I included them in making the anchor chart, and they can feel valued. And so the anchor chart means something to them. I know that a lot of you make your anchor charts right there in front of your kids. That's great if you have the time to do that, but I just feel like if you have to make the title and the border and the subtitles and you're decorating, that takes a while to do all that. I mean, if you want to make it look nice and hang it in your room. So I just pre-make them in the summer. And I have a YouTube video that I'm going to share with you about how I make my anchor charts. And I have anchor charts. I use these big tablets from Amazon. I just order them off of Amazon. And I use the colored tablets with the dotted lines in the middle. But I have a tablet for math, reading, writing, science, social studies, and phonics. So I just pre-make all of them, and then the kids are responding on them with their Post-it notes. So I'm going to share with you a quick video from my YouTube channel. Hey guys, this is Kara again. I'm going to talk to you about how I make my anchor charts today. And I really, really love how I use these great colored spirals. These are from Lakeshore. And what I did was I wrote a table of contents on the first page of each chart, as you can see. And I have one for math. Here's my math one. And this one is for ELA. Actually, I have two for ELA. Here's the other one. And this one I have for science and social studies. So as you can see, like the concepts that I have not taught, or I decided to not put that one on here, I just crossed it out and I did another one. So that's how I keep track of all of my different anchor charts. So if I'm in a rush and I don't have my anchor chart out right away, then I can just turn to my table of contents and I can find it really quickly. So I'm just going to show you a couple of my charts for each one. So okay, I'm going to move on to my ELA chart for Writer's Workshop and Reader's Workshop. So what I use this one probably the first week of school. What can we write about? I got this idea from Kara Carroll from the first grade parade. Characterization. What do we know about characters? Are they round or flat? Theme, always and never. Talk about theme and how to be a good friend, never be a naughty friend. Synonyms, they have the same meaning. It works well to use the flowers. And again, I have my mentor text up here that I use. Antonyms. Dialogue. And I teach them how to use quotation marks. And there's my mentor text, The Crayons Talk and The Day the Crayons Quit. Love those two books. Onomatopoeia, which are fun. This is prepositions with Rosie's Walk. Again, here's my post-it notes. They had to write the preposition on the post-it note, and then they filled in the missing word that went with the sentence, with the story for Rosie's Walk. That was really fun. These are adverbs, how, when, where, using post-it notes. Pronouns, using post-it notes. Idioms, a sentence that is play on words, and sometimes they're funny. Synthesis. So synthesis is learning new information from your schema and makes new understanding. And so how does your thinking change? Using a Ice Cream Sundae. Different genres. Nonfiction and fiction. What is your schema? I use this at the beginning of the year. All information in your brain. Good readers activate their schema to understand what they read. Your schema grows and changes every single day. So then I have some text features of nonfiction, using captions, labels. Fiction. What is fiction? What is a fable? What is main idea? And I use the table, like this is the main idea of the story and the details are the legs. What is reading? So I use this at the beginning of the year with the story, Don't Open This Book. And so reading is fun, reading teaches you new information, reading is thinking, reading is using your strategies, reading is hard work, and reading makes you stronger. So I have a little bookworm on here. They're going to be little bookworms all year. All right. So now you know a little bit more about how I make my anchor charts. So that's just the system that works for me. You need some kind of a spinning supply caddy. These are two different kinds that I've had in my room. So on the right side, you can see the Lazy Susan. I took a plate and I super glued it, hot glued it onto a Lazy Susan, and then I hot glued the pale tin cans on top of the Lazy Susan, and then that was my supply caddy. That was really cheap and inexpensive. And then I decided to buy a carousel caddy from Michaels because I like this one. It has so many different compartments in it. And it has drawers also, and it has little hooks that you can hook things onto. So if you have like index cards that are on rings, you can hook those onto those hooks. So whenever my kids were doing iStation, or Imagine Math, and I had index cards with their QR codes, and I would put them on a ring, and I would hang the QR codes there on my supply caddy. So these are both really great ways to organize your supplies at your teacher table. And I also have plastic tubs for my mentor text. I have hanging dividers in each tub for Reader's Workshop, Writer's Workshop, and Math Workshop, and I separate them by skill. So if you notice on the right-hand side, I have Writer's Workshop, and the hanging dividers separate the different skills for the mentor text. So I have mentor text for beginning of the year writing. I have mentor text for tiny moments. I have mentor text for nouns and verbs and adjectives and pronouns, prepositions, onomatopoeia, all those different things, different skills that we need. And so this is how I find my mentor text quickly and easily. And I keep these tubs under my desk so I can find them quickly. And so it really helps to be organized with your mentor text as well. So this is the shelf I was telling you about, my paper organization for Writer's Workshop. And what I do, this is the shelf that I bought from Office Max, and it's extremely useful for Writer's Workshop. I sort all the different papers in here, and I number the shelves, and I have a laminated cheat sheet at my teacher conference table that tells me the page and what number it is in the shelf. When a student needs a page, then I will tell them which number to find for their next page. This is very effective and organized. So if I know that a student needs a first draft page, I'll say, okay, go get page number 2 out of the shelf, and they'll go and grab page number 2. They don't even have to read anything on the pages. They just have to look at the numbers, okay? And they're just numbered. So this is how I organize all my papers. So we're going to watch another YouTube video that I have. And I'll show you how I organize my pages. In this video, the templates are fairy tale templates. So I made this video at the end of last year of 2019, when we were starting our fairy tale unit at the very end of the year. So that's why you see our fairy tales. Okay, here we go. Hey guys, this is Kara. I'm going to talk to you about how I organize my Writer's Workshop templates for my class. And I have this really cool little cheat sheet that I keep at my table when I conference with the children, and it has all the different steps of the Writer's Workshop, of the writing process that I use, and it has the numbers next to them. So I keep this as a handy reminder of which step that they're going to need. And then in my shelf right here, I have all these different compartments numbered, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way to 22. And so these are all the materials that they need. So if I see that they need page 1, which is brainstorming, I will tell them, come over to here to the shelf, and you will need page 1. And this is the brainstorming template that they're going to need. So right now we're doing fairy tales, and so they're going to need page 1. If I ask them to get a first draft, that's number 2. And number 3 has the student conference wheel with different questions on it. So I'll tell them go get page 3. And page 4 has the student conference checklist on it. They have to read with their partner. And page 5 has the proofreading. They have to write down 8 misspelled words their partner circled for them. And page 6 is teacher conference. And this is all fairy tale themed. And page 7 is the editing checklist, editing and revision checklist. And they have to check off if they corrected their spelling, if they had capitals, periods, punctuation, did they have dialogue, adjectives, okay? And every time they add a new page, I staple it to their pack. And this is second draft. This is page 8. And has a little coach at the bottom, so they have to recopy their story again. When they get to final draft, then they can get one of these final draft pages to write their sentence and their picture at the top. And typically I have 3 different final draft pages that they can choose from. Like if we're not doing fairy tales, they have the original page they can use, just a regular normal page. They can choose here or here for their final draft. And then if they need to do title page, this is page 12. Dedication page is page 13. Compliment page, page 14. About the author page is page 15. And over here we have table of contents. So if they're writing a chapter book, they can use table of contents. So that's number 17. This is self-assessment, page 18. This is the letter that gets stapled to their Writer's Workshop packet at the end when they get finished with their book. And I get to staple it to their pack so parents can read the nice letter. And then this is the genre page that I have them color in, which genre they have completed. And I don't have them do the same one every time. So this is just a really fast and easy way for me to keep track of all the different pages that they need for Writer's Workshop. Okay? If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you. All right, so I hope that answered some of your questions about organization. You're going to need some kind of a small table and chairs for the kids to sit on whenever they are student conferencing. So you can, if you don't have a table and chairs, then you can just have them sit on the floor crisscross applesauce.